Couldn't tell whether or not the music was coming through. Oh well. Uh, time to get started, one supposes. Well, guess what? I'm bringing me in. But I would start with something a little bit different today. Um, X. And so here we are. And I can say, welcome to the stream, and welcome back to the build. This is what we have so far. It's just the torso, but it's packed with so much stuff. Admittedly, I have been having some issues with the hatch. It would not click in properly onto one side. It got a bit bent, I guess, the clip. So this would fall off if it's not tightly held between two things. But functionally, it doesn't really interfere with all that much, fortunately. But now, we can continue on. I didn't have to switch transition views. I only had to activate certain things on OBS in order to get back in. I will set the torso aside, and we will continue on with the head as soon as I get all the stuff that I would need for it. And I just want to select something else in here. Yes. Oh. There's one border that still isn't live yet. There we go. Okay, so I'm hoping that today I'll be able to complete the head and the arm units, at least. But we'll see how that goes. Did want to use that for beginning, but I also kind of want to continue on basically where we left off. Oh, the track isn't over yet. I don't even know if that was where we left off. Not this, in a different track. But we will continue on like that. There we go. So, head unit says we need A, D, E1, E2, and F1, as well as the holographic parts. And I can take the holographic parts, but out of the bag. Right, it doesn't say we need... Oh, we do need stickers A. Stickers A being this one, I think. With the eyes on it. And I noted earlier how the neck is made of opaque materials, which means that it's not going to be able to light pipe. It wouldn't be able to light pipe. And the collar also is an opaque material, meaning that there wouldn't be any light piping that would happen there either. I was comparing it to the Master Grade Gundam The Origin, where the neck is made out of a clear plastic so that the light could be piped from the chest, where there is room for the LED unit piped up into the head. And if you used the clear eyes in that case, then you could have light coming out of the eyes. The eyes on there, on the Gundam The Origin Master Grade, you can choose between a yellow like the vents or a clear. And the clear means that the color of the eyes if you use an LED unit would depend on the LED unit itself. So you could go for the yellow, you could go for pink, you could go for blue or green, anything that you have. On here though, even though there's room for 2 LED units in the chest, or the not the chest, but the GN drive itself, it would only come out here. And in the GN drive itself, you pop this up, then it would come out in this crack, as well as the front part there. It wouldn't come out anywhere else. And of course, the other master grades that I have that I built are, besides the Master Grade Gundam, the Origin, I also have the Sword Impulse, I have the GN Sniper 2, and I have the Freedom 2.0 built. I have the Master Grade Barbatos and MG Curios waiting on my desk over there. So I will be building those sometime later. But the general pattern of the ones that I have is no crazy backpacks. Unlike that, the high grade perfect strike freedom, that definitely has a crazy backpack. Let's see. This is F1. I also need F1, F2. No, just F1. I need the E's though. This is E1, E2, the plastic and the clear plastic and the yellow. Kind of harder to see the clear, but it is one that I will have to be using. I have the F1 there. I don't think I got the D runner. Oh wait, I do. It's the white ones. And then this. And that's everything that I need in order to proceed. Get my headphones out of the way. And then this. And that's everything that I need. It's really hard to tell whether or not the music is coming through, and unfortunately there's no one watching who can tell me whether or not it is. But I will proceed, and I'll put back music into the fast build version of the entire build later. So it wants me to start with, as I think per usual, the head and eye unit over here. D14 and E14. Start applying stickers first, it says. No, it's E2. Now, why are we using clear parts and then putting stickers on? Or is it going on the clear? I think it is. I think that's the eye part. Let's keep to one clear part so that it's easier to track. $14 would be, it's over here. I do like working with master grade heads, or 1/114 heads, better than the 1/144th, because the scale is just that much easier to work with. If you have to work with the smaller heads, it can get a little bit tricky sometimes. Sticker A1. It's the little dot there. And it goes into the back. See? I'm gonna use my mini screwdriver to get and apply it, because my fingers are chub. That was the wrong end. I don't know if that's centered on it. That's probably correct. This, and then chin part. I think that's the chin. We go on here. No, that can't be the chin. It has to be something else. Goes down. And then A33 goes on there, of course. A runner is the one that I put on the bottom of the pile there. My screwdriver to the side, so that it's nice and out of the way. A33 is this one. You cannot see currently. Another nice small piece. Of course, it would be even smaller on 1/44th scale. Assuming even it exists on the 1/44th scale Dynames, which probably it does not. Am I gonna grab this from the middle? Sticky hands. I just shook it off the runner. Charlie. That caused an unfortunate large press mark on the plastic. Hopefully that will stay inside and in the middle. I have to turn the part this way. And it goes over the end with the sticker on it. I'm guessing that's going to be the sight on the forehead. And now it shows this coming forward. And it's going to be like that in the head. And now I need A27 and these parts. A27 is probably one of the gray parts. Head frame. And then I need A28, E211, and a sticker. A28 is the complementary part. The other one I just cut out. And of course, since these are frame parts, I don't really have to care quite as much about the nub marks. And this is the part that the stickers for the eyes would go on. It'd be useful to keep that on until I have the eyes on. Except that it bends, so it's not exactly as stable as I would want it to be. So I will cut it off after all. Now, which way does this go for the eyes to go on? Go up like this? Judging by the shape on the plastic, probably. I don't know if you can see the way that the eye parts are going, but it looks like it should go that way. And I always find it difficult to put the eyes on. I usually try to go from the center. And unfortunately, the more times you try to move this around by removing it, the less sticky the sticker will become. Therefore, why I have not tried lifting the sticker entirely off of the plastic. I hope that's alright. It seems creased there, but I'll probably end up creasing it more by messing with it more. I won't do that. It should be that, I guess. And it goes where exactly? Seems to go into the lower bit. Into here. Yeah. Seems like it would have a higher forehead then. And I guess that's just the way it is. And then the part with the sight, there's nothing in the back because it doesn't go that way. It just kind of folds in. Pretty interesting. It sits in, but it's not completely stabilized or anything. Because that waits until that's on it. There, that has the connections. And now those parts will not go anywhere. Or hopefully the stickers. Okay, I will need F110. There's really no keeping the wire out of frame, is there? Not without doing something weird with it. That part of the instructions even in the print? Yeah. I need F110. I didn't cut away first, but the gates on that part aren't as thick. They'd be easier to avoid marking. And I need A18 and A26. E and A26 is the mask, so it should be white. I usually try to limit more when I'm working with the smaller pieces, and then later on I might decide to work with more again, like I did when I was putting the torso together. This goes into the slot. Fingers can manage it. Great. Here we go. I fumbled it in, and then it's supposed to slide up into the face mask. And then that would go onto here. And just go in. A slot underneath the eyes that it goes into. Ah. The stickers don't seem quite right, but I don't think it would improve much if I tried to reset them. Now, there's an E2 with a sticker that I can set first. And just make sure that I cut it correctly. I think both sides of this piece are symmetrical. At least I hope it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. I'm not sure that it matters in this case. It's not going on precisely, is it? Maybe I should take out my tweezers. Seems to be hanging over one edge there, but I don't have the precision to move it over just that much. Thus, I think it should probably go inside. But how am I going to do that without? That's not working either. And push down, but all it wants to do is go flat onto the part. And it's losing its stickiness already. So I don't want to mess with it more. So before I put that on, I want to get the holographic parts. Which are B and C. Seems to be done. To the side there, not the middle. Out. Need to turn this around if it's the same as the other one. It could be. And it's shaped pretty precisely, but they don't tab quite as tightly. I'm trying not to lose the one that I already put in. Well, I tried to put this one in and I'm fumbling with it at first. Almost lost it, but saved it. How did I get the other one so easily? Not tight against the head. In the middle part. When I have difficulties like this, I wonder why we were not evolved with 3 arms and hands. Is that it? That's in. Now this can go. And is it going to be able to wrap the parts so that they can't go anywhere? No. It's still not on top of anything, so they could just drop out. A3 should fix that. Doesn't really indicate whether A3 should go on before or after. Probably after for the best effect, even if it's more of the pain in the butt. Alright. This was much easier already than the real grade Exia. Getting the power lines onto that and getting them to stay was a bit of a nightmare. Basically had to sandwich them between the 2 head pieces, the side ones, and continue to try to keep them there throughout the whole process. It was not an enjoyable part, especially as I lost them a few times too. And was definitely ready to give up on having the whole thing complete together. Oh, that's not. Alright, that is that part. Just have to add a few more parts to the head. I have this piece all the way down, but it's not moving at all. Just to... Oh, it comes out. 1, 14, and 15 supposed to go on for top. Here. Put back a bit further out. These are absolutely going on top. They will be very visible. So the gates were small enough that they were probably not visible anyway. But why take that chance? Oops. I absolutely caught it. Kind of wish not putting chain condensers on the cheek like usual. So I guess Virtue and Curious don't have them on the cheek either. So Exia definitely does. And now for the fin portion. I need a 17. This red part. And E11. Actual V-fin. Attached here at precisely 1 point. Let's get this off first so we can. I thought I was sleeping near it. Wasn't. Okay. And I notice there are no flags on the top of the V-fin. And for this, where does it want to sit? Where's there an ant there? That wasn't smart. It just came right underneath my arm. Okay. Seems to be indicating the palms kind of backwards. I don't know if I'm holding the red piece upside down or right side up. Ah, so it's in like that. But all that just to get the red around like that. Well, oops, fill out. And now it wants that to come up and in. What was the point of doing that? Oh, come on. I don't even see where that mounts. Oops. Good thing it came into my lap. I think I will cement this into place. Just so I don't lose it again. Kind of like that. I have the feeling that it's not sitting completely. Okay, that shouldn't go anywhere anymore. Only question is now, how's that supposed to sit here? There seems to be almost a slot at the top. That's not really it either. Wait. I didn't put in the top right, did I? That's one. I put it in backwards. Trust me to make such a simple mistake, even though I tried double checking. Now, should this go? I'm gonna actually go on to this part. There. That's what should happen. It goes on to the part that goes forward and up. Like that. So that when it hides the sight in this position, but then when he wants to aim more, it comes forward and down like that. Hides the Gundam eyes, but shows the sight. A fairly simple yet cool mechanism, like a lot of the rest. Assuming, of course, the V-fin doesn't come out. I could cement it, but it seems to be pretty solid. Because it came down instead of onto it forward. If I was to pull up, then it probably wouldn't be too happy with it, but there's no reason to pull up on it. And that's the head. Actually, not such a bad thing that I didn't get this sticker into there now. I thought it would have to go. But it's okay. And now I can start on the shoulders. So which ones do I need? I need the holographic parts. Actually, need all of the stickers too. A, B, C, D, E2, F1, and F2. Basically all of them. I'll move E out to here. That room. And F1 is still needed, yes. These are A, B, and C's. These are the E's. I only need E2. I don't need E1 for this part. But I do need F2. I think it's the smaller one. F2 is just this part. E1 can go. These over here. All right. We have what we need to do arms, although that won't completely arm the Dynames. So all the parts that are on this page, it tells you to do it twice. Meaning, of course, that we're building the symmetrical parts of the arms first. like X5. It looked like another part. That's why I was a bit confused. And down here. Turns out we don't need these very much in this part of the build. There will be more. It doesn't matter which side this all goes. That's correct. And the top part should be gray. It's for the wrist. Be needing lots of seeds for that. I'm not sure about cutting out both at the same time. I'll do one at a time instead. Need C28. It's at the middle of this huge runner. And the only way I can really grip it and make sure that I have it is to go like that. 24 and 25. Lots of C here. And 26. I'm just gonna point out is remember this is all render frame. Pretty. Yeah. You guys were probably looking at it for longer than I was. And 4. If you're wondering why there are so many frame parts, this is what keeps it so stable. Getting the wire out of the way is turning out to be more of a pain than anything else. This one that's everything I need from that C, although I will need the other C for the other later. Why don't I put this to the side for now? That'll take the wire out of the way. We can start putting these together at least. Is it even, or is it curved one way or the other? Trying to get it more. It seems like it should go. I figured I'd be able to wiggle it in. I can't seem to. Is that going to be tight enough to complete it? No. One straight. It's really not in all the way. So I don't know if I can take it out to fix it. It's not gonna move. Hopefully that will be able to go in. It went in. set that aside for now. And go here. Going on, that's a bit more flexible to it. And holographic part A is the same for both. And is of course asymmetrical part. Use your fingers to bend the holographic part A into shape. Now, which part is supposed to go into where? Part here. And this part. Here. Looks like it tabs further up. Like, that. Didn't really bend it. And be careful not to catch the holographic. It isn't showing up top. This looks like ones with the thicker here. Go up, but of course slots gotta go out. That and the curve here. That. And that right there is a lower arm. Well, the frame anyway. Oh, there's a D17 part that I missed, I think. Had this before. I think I bumped it. And there, let's go away. This should go on like that. It does. Okay, I'll that aside as well for now. And we that. This. And this is shoulder. Engineering throughout this thing is just like everything they could have possibly taken. And it goes out and goes up that far. And it's in. It still moves around quite a lot. And that's what happens when I don't hold it down. Pigeon tape. I'll have to find the other one that went off later. Very minor thing. Maybe the one with the longer should have gone on. Well, I suspect it doesn't really matter as long as it just goes. There we go. So I will need to set all of these aside so that I can work on the other arm. Have to go through here. So this would go like this. Unless I'm missing a part. Oops. I don't think I'm really missing anything. There's gotta be an upper arm though. Pretty sure this. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was. But the armor's not on here yet. So I'm a bit jumping the gun. I will set that aside for now. Let's do the other arm. Hopefully this time I can fit it. See? But it's not like it prevented it from coming together completely. But that at least was good. Alright. And I definitely sound like a broken record marveling at Bandai's engineering over and over again, but why would you not? When you have all of this, and it's a completely tricked out model, completely filled with gimmicks and engineering that makes the model itself both stable and incredibly well articulated. I don't even have it completely put together yet, and I'm still going wow all the time. Otherwise it will not fit. It's upside down, isn't it? Wait. That was higher up. What is that? The eggs are supposed to be higher. One straight. That does fit pretty much perfectly, which probably means that I did the other one wrong. But it still works out okay. Okay, let's see here. I didn't feel that. Right. I may not be able to hear the music, but at least I don't have to worry about the wire. 7. I wonder why they made these grenades out of the frame plastic as well. It is what, ABS? It doesn't say. Four. And then on the other side. $47. GN. Right. Okay. It all together. I swear it doesn't look like it's any different upper bottom. Let's see. Very tight though. Maybe if I have more wiggle top and bottom. That looks like it's in all the way. A little awkward. Even though it fits more tightly, it's still not perfect. Alright, and then we get the holographic part. I don't even really know if that's correct. Yes, it does indeed go in this way. Not even locked in at the top yet. And this. This. This is the part that locks it in. It does indeed. And like I said before, the engineering on this is just plain well worthy. That's the track it goes. Okay, we need F2, 3, and 4. By putting the 3 on first, since that has the longer piece. The marks aren't bad per se, but I'd still rather not. still end up with some. This is not as bad. I'll have to find that on my floor later. I think this one on first. It will go on. This one on. It did go on more smoothly. Alright. That out. Here's one more time. One more before. Wait. Right arm stuff. Well, I'm guessing it doesn't really matter which arm you use. The way this is oriented, it would be an arm. I'll try with that first. Start applying stickers first. Sticker A, sticker B, so it needs both. I'm gonna make sure that here is the big sheet. No, it's the small sheet. For these. Music again. There's one side or both sides? Seems to be one. Yeah, the other side is covered. Now is E210 going to be clear? And the sticker here is 44. Wait, does it even matter whether or not it's clear? I guess. Take this one out first. Have to be careful not to take out the notch. Otherwise, you lose where it would connect. You could still put it on, but you shouldn't have to. I wonder why it needs these as well. Does it add extra depth or something? See what this is. Come on. It is clear. Oops. But why do we even need it when the thing is also marked on the foil? Although I guess it would be here if it's on both. That's not going to work. I should have a more stable way of gripping it, but I don't. And I lost it. That's definitely off. Off, but more, and that's closer. That's still not going to look anywhere near perfect. Well, I could just leave it like that. I can't even see it anymore. Oops. Watch for orienting it right. breaking in or anything. I guess the armor has to go over it first. We'll see shortly. My base is covered. Move that over. Into another holographic part. E9 and E. This one will be 9. It'll be obvious which one goes where because one of them has a hole and the other one does. Any other A's for that? No? Good. Let's try and keep it simple. Oh, and then the G part goes over that. Oh, holographic part G. They're both G, of course. Direction doesn't really seem to matter this time. Just supposed to in here, a little tab. That goes in after. Wait, why does that go on the arm first? I guess to give it something to rest up against. Just in exactly like that. Easy. Goes. Here. And now neither of those should move. Hello, Kunkiti. I am good. Very well assembled. Thank you. How many hours have I assembled this? It's probably now been, well, the first one was 2 hours, so I'm now at 3:43 all told. Been doing Gundam for many days. Yeah, and how have you been finding it? I think it's a lot of fun. If I get into a good rhythm, then it gets pretty meditative, and I like doing it a lot. What is Gundam, you ask? Gundam is, well, a Gundam is a mecha, generally humanoid, that has a V-fin and 2 eyes on it. and a forehead jewel somewhere on it. Well, this one doesn't have a forehead jewel on it. It has the aiming sight instead. And Mobile Suit Gundam is a long-running franchise, been over 40 years now. It started airing in 1979, and then every few years, Sunrise would put out something else, another series to the franchise, and they would also make models. And these are plastic models. Now, they are much better technology than they used to be. The kits tend to be snap fit, which means that they go together with peg and port systems. So you can see on these parts, this one has a port, this one has a peg, so that they fit together well. And most of the time, you don't need to use plastic cement for them. As well, they're molded in color most of the time, so that you should only need marking stickers, but there are some for color correction as well. And, oh, good vibes, thank you. And they also come in a variety of grades for difficulty, size, and detail. This is a master grade, which means that it's fairly high detail most of the time. It does vary. This is a fairly recent kit. It was made in 2019, the Dynames. And so it has great design articulation and everything to it. As you will see as it comes together, and I've remarked numerous times so far already on the engineering of this kit, which I'm really enjoying, despite the fact that there are some parts where I struggle. And though that's generally what happens with these, I generally will struggle with things from time to time, but still muddle through them. And it shows that even though I've been putting models together since 2015, I still encounter a number of unexpected but still very good I think issues, and then their solutions. And let's see, where does it want it to go? Seems to be facing this way. Yeah. And then D26 also goes. Yes, always be sure you cough into the elbow. That way you don't catch people with your cough. I do have a limited time in which to do this today. I do have a shift at work later on. I work at one of the local public libraries, so I go in, and the library is generally good about safety procedures, especially these days. Are you assemble HGs? I do assemble a lot of HGs. I try to get more of a variety, but I have very few of the master grades like this one. I generally try to go for the ones that are engineered really well, although sometimes I do miss. You can see the holographic sticker there in the center. See if I can catch the light. It's very difficult to do it under the camera because my light is there behind me. I got it a little bit there. And then you've got this thing there, the condenser in the arm. See if I can get my camera focused on. Can't even really see the stickers for all the trouble I went to trying to orient them. They're not very evident. I guess maybe the double lenses made it too thick, so it's not all that visible. The next is the hand, wrist and hand. So I put together a number of the high-grade kits. Mr. Tap Jung, welcome. So, Keat. I also like a number of the high-grade kits. I've even put together some of the SDs, mostly the BB Legends, BB Senshi ones, because they're better designed than some of the other SD ones. And then there's the ST Cross Silhouette ones, which are really good. But again, they're SDs, they're put together with the same sort of engineering. I'm trying to look for the parts. It should be further down here, actually. Looking for 31, 30, 32. Oh, right, they're the hinge parts over here. Oh, this one got a movable thumb on one of the hands. $30. It was 30. And chances are, if you recognize this song, it's because it is the one that Jacksepticeye often uses as an ending. It's the exact same remix, he just cuts it a bit differently and it's for the end. We're even going to use the thumb here. I'll cut that out and then start putting stuff together so that I don't have too many small parts. Difficult, yes. It can be difficult at times. But the challenge is part of it. Let's see. Both. There's the thumb. And we'll all go on to B14, which I think I will cut out as well. Part of the wrist. I like the swapping finger hands better than the fully articulated hands. Like the fully articulated hands that come with the Master Grade RX 7802 Gundam. The Origin is it makes it a bit hard to handle, and the first time that I tried using the hands, I didn't know how they really worked. That you had to flex them first and work them a bit before they would work properly. But once I had that, they work fairly well. They just get loose after a time. I prefer the more fixed pose ones because you know that they will stick together and function as they're supposed to over a much longer time. Or at least that's been my experience. We had so much fun. Yes, it is a lot of fun, I think, putting these together. If I didn't have fun, I wouldn't do it. This goes this way. Oh. This, no matter which side it is, probably shouldn't matter. I can turn this over and try. Good. This way seems to have more. Or this way. Unless, of course, this is supposed to be the closed side. I think that is, maybe? Let's take a look more at the instructions. I put the thumb in, then it will be there. It's hard for you? Yeah, it takes a while to get used to. You said you had only been doing it for days. So, that part of the reason why you haven't had that much practice yet. Looks like that is the palm. Not really sure it matters which direction this is. It all seems to be pretty even. Okay, D2 and B. Well, depends on which fingers you want here. Oh, that is that's the back of the hand. Hand covers. But it does want D2 as opposed to D1 here. Probably you have one left hand, one right hand, and then the swapping fingers here. That makes sense. And then B11 or B6. So here in the fingers you have open spread fingers, you have trigger fingers. It looks like these are holding and these are fists. So B11 looks like fists. Cut it out, but I won't put it on because it's not that expressive. I'll just set it aside. Yeah. Black and white. And it wants B6. Although really I could give it any hand that I wanted. The two holding hand though will only come into play once I have built the weapons. Let's put the hand back on. So these hands will have articulated thumb. Waggle, waggle. Thumb up. Can it do a thumbs up? Not really, just waggles it like that. And then, but I'm not put the backing on properly. So these are fixed pose hands. So it can wave at you. Do that kind of thing. And then if I had the holding hands, you just put the thumb in there in order to make it look like it's holding things. Like Gundam, yes, so do I. What series have you watched? I have watched quite a few of them now, but I hadn't watched some of them for quite some time. I tried Gundam Wing when it first came to North America, but I didn't quite understand it. It went right over my head. Then Gundam Seed came in and I watched that. And I enjoyed it at the time. And then there was, of course, Gundam Seed Destiny, which I thought was repetitive, especially after watching Gundam Seed. Then there was Gundam 00, which is my favorite, and that's the series that the Dynames here is from. And I really like that. I like that the suits seemed more realistic in that you could tell where the beam sabers and stuff were coming from on the suits. Okay, so that's the right arm. I definitely had thought of it like that. And then I also watched Iron-Blooded Orphans, Thunderbolt, along with December Sky. I don't actually know if it goes on like that yet, but it does seem to. It looks like it wants you. I'm reading further down in the instructions. It seems to want to connect to the shoulder first, like that, and then go on to the body. But going on to the shoulder peg separated it from the shoulder a bit. But that so far, there. And I'll put on the other arm too. I think I'll try skipping the intermediate lens on here, because it made it so think you can't even see the sticker anymore there. Which is definitely a shame. And let's see. I don't know if you can see them, but there's a holographic part here in the head. There's one down here on the side, and also in the back of the arm here. So, and in the elbow here. So we've already used quite a few of the holographic parts. It is very cool. And I like the celestial being suits because they're so stylized. And let's get to the other arm. The left arm. And let's see. There should be proper orientation. Need to get the sticker. If I'm going to use this sticker anyway, I may as well skip the intermediate. Try to smooth it down without marking it as much as I did the other one. Okay, that should do for that one. Let's see what happens if I just use the A part. This one is going. Here. And double O. All of them are so cool. Yes. The double O riser itself is my favorite suit, given how powerful it is and how versatile it is. Because you have the Exia, which is definitely a melee focused suit. So I'm going to try this time skipping the lens and the sticker and see what happens. The sticker is kind of visible underneath. Get the other arm again. I guess it's both kind of visible, but it's not really all that visible. And only when the light hits it correctly. This one is a bit better. So I don't think the second lens is necessary. Here. Well, I'll skip it this time and see what happens with the rest of the arm. Well, I will get ready the armor parts. And as I said before as well, yes, it's very well. I've been building Gunpla since 2015. It was the Gundam Build Fighters that got me into it, because I saw the models that Sei Iori had in the series, And I thought, well, I'd like to build them too. And then I wondered, do they have a uh, a double O model? Is that the first one that I wanted? I assemble very fast. Actually, I'm pretty slow compared to a lot of the others on YouTube and the internet. But I do try to go at a fairly good pace, just so that I can have these together fairly fast. The only thing is that you have to be methodical enough that if you make mistakes, you can go back and fix them too. And I do make a lot of mistakes and then have to fix them. This is one of the holographic parts. I just have to slip that in. And then the armor part goes. Seems there's a bit on here. Let's see if I can clean that up. Where's my file? I'll just do a bit of I hit my camera boom. The good thing about this model in particular is that despite being a master grade and coming in a pretty standard master grade box, it doesn't have all that many parts or runners. So it should be fairly quick to assemble, although I wouldn't call it that much of a beginner kit. It's more towards the higher level. It might be more intermediate, but it's also not quite that difficult to handle, at least from my experience so far, because I'm comparing it to other kits where you have things like the power line, the holographic parts. And the real grade Exia is a real headache, a real pain when it comes to those, because not only do they not do they not stick anywhere, but you can lose them very quickly. They're small, and of course they're transparent, so it takes a while to find them if they fall on your floor. And you have to bend them and keep them in place while you put the parts into place, which means I wished that I had 3 or 4 hands to do it. I am better than you? Well, like I said, I've done it for a lot longer. But my skill is at the point where I've done some kit bashes where I take different parts from different models and put them together. I've done some painting, but only with Gundam markers. Gundam markers, they have paint in them. And I've done customs like that. But it all takes practice and it all takes a while to get to. It should be cool. It would be very cool once it's done. Let's see. I'm at the hand for this one. He had 1 runner or 2? What, 2? So I should find the other hand over here. Okay. These ones. These little joint parts for the wrist. And that one is 32. There's a cut in my runner. There. big runner is kind of awkward when you try to get things off it, but at least you know where everything is when you go for it. And this is one of the largest runners I have dealt with, even though I have built one perfect grade. I built the perfect grade Exia, and that is, again, a heck of a model. The fact that it's larger, it has tons of plastic, but the scale is also large. So most of the parts, being that larger scale, are also easier to deal with. This right there. This was the round one. Working with the smaller pieces are mostly my weak point, as you can see. End of on. This pick. Oh, there we go. Well, the arm is almost done. I still have to do the waist, the legs, the backpack with the thrusters on it, and of course the weapons and the defensive shield. So body-wise, he's going to be halfway done. Accessories-wise, we still have quite a bit to go. I've been going 2 hours. Let's see. Up there, I should get B. B14. This one. There isn't a lot of the B runner left. I like the feeling when I complete a runner. And then I can take out one of those hands. I set this one aside, and I'll use the fist for this arm, so that you can see the difference. And then once I've gotten to the weapons, I can switch to the gripping hands. The Dynames has a high-powered sniper rifle, and it has 2 pistols. And, of course, 2 beam sabers, because what Gundam doesn't have beam sabers, right? Oh, that was funny. I did the instructions up there. But and then I stopped following them. But hopefully I did that right. And let's see. Because I think mostly the parts are symmetrical anyway. And they're the same parts. So it works out. But even if I went and did the instructions that are up there, they're parts I already used too. So unless it was on a different runner, it would still work 100%. And let's see. It doesn't actually look like it can specify in the instructions which side it's supposed to be. I'm trying to get as much flexion and extension as I can into the wrist, but it doesn't move much anyway. You see that much there? And if I flip it, it's about the same on this one too. But from that way, so I'm not sure that this one matters. Why don't I participate in the contest? I actually have. I submitted the model that I use for my avatar, my Sonata Scherzo. I submitted that to the World Builder Gunpla contest a few years ago, and I think part of the reason why I didn't get past the preliminaries there was because the pictures didn't really show it all that well, and as well, when you make something and you paint it with Gundam markers, it just doesn't look as good. Let's see, is it 1? If it's 1, I can use this. So I've actually done a few contests besides that. I submitted that one. I submitted a crossbone custom where I mixed both of the crossbones from build fighters into a new, much more powerful unit. And I didn't win that one either, but I think that the experience of having done those models and submitted them was still very good, because you can always learn from those kinds of experiences and try to do better the next time. I can do it for sure. Thank you. You too as well. Once you gain more experience, you can start submitting to contests as well. They generally have 3 categories for the contest. One is beginner, so putting things together with maybe some detailing, maybe some panel lining, but not much beyond that. Intermediate is where you would have the you would have kit bashing and you would have some painting. And then the expert or highly difficult levels, that's where you would have people scratch building parts and creating entirely new things. And those big expert levels, they're always awesome what people put together. If you have the opportunity to see what people produce, and I think you can go and look at archives for the World Championship, Gunpla World Building Championship. They'll knock your socks right off. They're just that amazing. And just to see them, the things that people can do, it's like, wow. Even the ones that people create and they don't necessarily submit for the purposes of contests, they can be absolutely amazing. Like one of my favorite customs for the Super Fumina, because that's a model that begs being customized. You can't leave it alone the way it is, because it's just too strange, way too strange. But one of the customs that somebody made is a custom resembling Ruby Rose from the Rooster Teeth series. And I have no idea at all how they did it. But all the parts, the weapon that she has, Crescent Rose, the bullets that she has on her belt, the rose insignia that's on her costume, everything, and then a cloth cape. It's all perfectly detailed for that custom. And that's just awesome. It's all awe-inspiring, and hopefully it inspires people as well to build more. Get that in all the way. That makes the shoulder stay where it is more. Yeah, that's awesome. So let's see. Flex the wrist like this. Back like this. Forward like this. Swivel 2. And bicep like this. That's as much as you would want out of that. And then the armor is going to mount to these, and they can move a little bit. They can actually move a lot. Was that without coming out? No, I think they're out. That's out. This is in, and then they come out like this. You can come out all over the place. And then you have the hatch. I had some trouble with that because it would come off the hook. But the hatch can open even just like that to look inside. Oh, it came off again. Oh, that's more than just off. That broke. But I can probably cement it back. I have to try to avoid losing the part. Then you have this gimmick on the forehead. You pull the V-fin. That part drops. It covers the eyes and reveals the head camera. And you have the condensers in the arms. You have the holographic parts all over the place. The GN drive. Very fast. It's all practice. Oops. That came off. It wasn't supposed to come off, but I guess that's because I keep pulling it to pull the drive out more. My hands are shaky. There. You pull out the drive, it has another clear part. It's for its burst mode, like Exia also has. You can also clamp that down. It won't keep it in place, but it looks more complete that way. And then the clavicle antennae, which pop up. It's definitely an awesome build even so far, and even though part of it broke for me. And I can hopefully put that together, back together and repair it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to see about getting a replacement part, which isn't all that easy. But it already looks awesome, and it's not even technically half complete. I would definitely encourage people, even if you don't feel like you're at the level where you can do master grades, they're very solid. At least these ones are. So you can look at reviews, see if they're ones that you would like to get, and try to put them together. I can recommend the MG Gundam The Origin because it's a fairly simple build. It doesn't have that many tricks to it, and you should be able to put it together fairly quickly. Another one I would suggest for starters, almost anything from the Revive line, from the high grades is good. For real grades, if you want to try those, let's see, not really the early ones, I would think. There's the early ones, they have waist issues, but the late ones start to get tricky. You can try the Gundam for a real grade or double O Quanta, probably. For early one, you probably wouldn't want to do one that has too much to it, like the double O Riser. It has a lot in the kit, and to have that as a first kit can be tricky. MG hard for you? Well, it can certainly seem that way, but with practice and being able to do more, you'll be able to get used to it. Like, this is only the 5th master grade that I put together. And it's not done yet, but it's very well engineered. Everything comes together fairly easily and fairly quickly on this one. It's definitely easier so far than the Sword Impulse. And it's not as tricky to do as the Freedom 2.0. But, every kit is a bit different. Your experiences of it will probably be a bit different as well. But if you wanted to try a kit in a grade that you were unfamiliar with, the Gundam is a safe bet, usually. Although for the real grades, it's part of the early ones, of course. So it has real grade syndrome because it has that partially prefabricated frame. Whereas the ones now that you have, the frames all, you assemble them much the way you would a master grade. So they're generally more solid. We can do this. I have some Tamiya extra thin cement. I'm gonna put some on here. It does dry quickly, but I just need it to stick on and stay. And then I can put more on later. And if I want something to be really solid, a really solid hold, that won't come off anywhere for any reason, I would set it overnight and then apply another coat and then set it again. Even 4-6 hours, something like that, would definitely make a difference in the hold that the cement has on the plastic. Even though it had space to dry, it's still kind of holding. So what I will do is, even if I stream again to continue the build, I will let this set. So that it's more solid. Now, unfortunately, because it seemed to have flexed, the plastic on the hook, it flexed open so it wouldn't clip, which is why I've been having so many issues with it. But I believe I got this one used from Strong Moving Point, yeah. I got it used from Ami Ami, and that means that I wouldn't be able to easily get a replacement point part because it's used. I need to block the manual from being used so that you can see. And I need to let that set. I need to do it so that the hook itself is as closed as it possibly can be, but I still think it's loose. It's probably loose, which is why it won't clip in properly in where it's supposed to go. But everything else works perfectly fine on here. Actually, I had that hook into here originally, but because it kept on popping out, I switched it around. Seems to be even, so that works. And if this would stay on, then that's where it would stay on for the rest of the time. Now, I do have all these other parts that need to go on, of course, but I think I am going to end the build here today for now. And I will continue the build from the waist down, basically, as we go. It is a very cool kit. I think, like most other people, I'm hoping that Bandai does an Exia 2.0, because this frame is so much more solid than I've heard the MG Exia, the current version that they have, is. And I definitely want to see this level of detail, this level of flexibility and solidity on the Exia frame. I didn't get the MG Exia because the real grade was better at the time, and then I got the PG Exia and a third-party lighting kit for it. So I already have 2 other Exias, so I didn't really need the master grade. But if they make an Exia 2.0 and it's as good as this one and the Curios, which I also have the Curios, then I would probably be willing to get the Exia 2.0 in the master grade. And as for the Virtue, well, it's basically the full armor, not the way that it is. So, but it's more expensive. It's almost $100, but it looks like it would be worth it anyway. And that all comes down to the engineering and design. So we'll see where that goes later on. They do have a listing for it, but it won't be on sale until November, I think. So we have that to look forward to. I know that you said that you haven't been doing Gunpla for very long. So that means that as you go, you can, of course, learn and gain more skills. And you can get more experience as well from doing them. If you want more practice, of course, you can get the cheaper models that are out there, like the grunt suits, and practice different techniques on them. And of course, you can watch different tutorials as well. Wash hands, yes. Although there isn't all that much for me to wash today because I haven't been painting. Usually when I paint, I get some on my hands too. It's pretty much unavoidable if I'm doing things by hand. And as we both said, both Kunkiti and myself, we said that it's enjoyable to build the Gunpla, which is why I do it, probably why you do it as well. And if I didn't enjoy it, then I wouldn't have as much backlog as I do. And the only reason I have the backlog is because I've been playing games more than I have. Got this, yes, thank you. And it's kind of funny though, because as long as I've been doing this, I also don't have experience with doing different kinds of techniques. I've mostly been doing things the same way the entire way along, even as I've been doing some customs. I'll sometimes mix things up just a little bit, but I haven't even done scratch building yet. That's something that I will need to try. I do have some flat plates to build some small kind of accessories, but nothing like a brand new part. And the other technology that we have now for scratch building, of course, is 3D printing. I don't have a 3D printer, and I'm not sure the resolution on them is high enough to be able to build parts that can click together the way these kits do, but I'm kind of looking forward to when they do. So this is as far as I go today in this stream. And I will pick up for choosing someone to raid on Twitch and go for it from there. And let's see, I might stream again tomorrow. I've got a day off and I know I can do it pretty freely. And hopefully I'll at least get the waist and the legs then. But this was a pretty good stream, I think. It took a bit less than 2.5 hours to get the head and the arms on. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. So, if you liked what you saw, you can, of course, leave me a like, comment below what you thought, subscribe, ding, and ring the bell if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitch, you can leave me a follow, of course, and you can follow me on Twitter. Although I don't tend to post that much on Twitter. I don't like the atmosphere on most of it. I usually check up on friends when I'm going on Twitter. And not much else than that, but what else do you need, right? So let's see who I want to raid today. There are only a few people online right now. It's between Arcadian Mew and Hanayukata. I usually go for the person who has the least. So let's see. Let's drop in on Hanayukata. So thanks again for watching, and until the next time, the next stream, video, or whatever, please do stay safe, stay healthy, most especially, and remember to be excellent to one another. Bye-bye.